Basically, the living conditions in the camp were very abysmal, so very tough. There is nothing much to do in the camp. You wake up in the morning, everything is just the same. You wake up with the stress and you don't know what to do. And I consider myself very lucky to have come out in 2 years. When I came to the camp, I met some people who are there, and until today, as I speak, they're still in that camp.
My name is Jeff Rock, and I'm one of the ministers at Gates Memorial United Church here in Red Deer. And I've been asked to be one of the volunteers for the Refugee Camp in the City Day. And my role is I'm one of the simulated interfaith chaplains at the Refugee Camp. And so I'm talking to kids about the different religious traditions and how in the difficult times of a refugee camp, kids often don't know too much about other religious traditions, and so we're doing a little education there too. So one of the tents here at the refugee camp in the city is the lodging tent. And the kids come up to the tent and they see some pictures of what the different lodgings look like in refugee camps around the world. Some of them are, camps that you look like you might buy at Canadian Tire, whereas others are just series of tarps held together with bits of plastic and duct tape. And so it shows the kids some of the real struggles and the difficulty in living conditions in refugee camps. Another one of the tents is the food tent, and at the food tent are little Ziploc bags showing exactly what the rations are for each refugee in a refugee camp. Just a meager amount of flour, a little bit of cornmeal, a tablespoon of oil, a bit of sugar and salt, and it shows the kids really just how little food people have to live on in refugee camps. Another tent is the water tent, and in the water tent they've gone down to the Red Deer River and taken a scoop of the muddy brown water to show the kids the kind of water conditions that exist in some refugee camps. And they're telling kids stories like, imagine that there's a river 5 kilometers away from the refugee camp, and here's your bucket. You've got to go and walk 5 kilometers, fill it up, and carry the heavy water back. And it also talks about some of the wells that are available, but you're expected to have some money if you want to use somebody's well. And so it gives the kids a chance to learn about water conditions, but also about diseases like cholera and what the realities of unsafe drinking water can lead to. And for us as Canadians living right next to a river, it gives a really different perspective. When every child comes to this refugee camp in the city, they're given a United Nations ID badge that tells them their name and the country they're from. And at the end of the day, each of them gets their fate. And one of the fate stories is you're given refugee sponsorship and get to come to Canada. And so 1/5 of the students get that as their fate. Another 1/5 get told the story that they're bitten by a mosquito and get malaria and almost die, but get the life-saving medication that they need to survive. And so it shows the kids the different realities and possibilities and outcomes for people living in a refugee camp.
I think, there's a parallel between what's happening in Alberta right now with, tornado warnings today in particular, with some of the floods that are happening, that people are having to ask themselves the same question that refugees have to ask themselves all the time, is what would I take with me?